where we correct to direct. So you're in the learning process. Just glean and learn. Examine, test, don't judge.
Can I say one quick thing? Stop prolonging the process. Just go into it. You got a great leader.
I have a statement first, then a question. The statement, I thank God for you, Pastor Turner. I met you in another Reformation, and I saw you, but I never heard you speak. It was like where I met you at, it was like that person was always before the people. And the other leaders, you never knew what was inside of them, the anointing, the oil. And I thank God because this is my first time literally hearing you. And it was bringing tears to my eyes. Because some things you said, it was for me.
Yes.
Because I was at that place to say, that's it. I'm done. I love serving my pastors. I love serving my leaders. And I try to do what they ask me to do. Sometimes I falter. Sometimes I get off course. But I love serving. Did it ever come a time in either one of your lives that you would see yourself at this level in ministry where you are now? Because I've been to many seminars, many classes. I'm 56 years old, soon to grace 57, and I thank God for it. Grew up in Church of God in Christ. All my life been in church. Always heard the same sermons all the time. To a place where I got to a place where I didn't want to hear no more eyes have seen, ears have heard. I got to a place I didn't want to hear Peter walk on water no more. Because that's all he did. And that's all I heard. Until I came, a lot of people questioned me, well, why did you leave Church of God in Christ and come over in Apostolic? I promise you, when I even came over to a place of worship and I shared it with Apostle, I cried because I was like, God, why you got me in this place? Because they have unorthodox church. They have church that I'm not used to. But it was for me to learn and glean. And he pulled so much out of me that I was told as a little girl was there. But I just wanted to do as the prophet here. I always directed choirs. That's all I want to do. That's all I've ever wanted to do until I met this little man right here. But I have watched from the time I've been here in the 4 years. I watched my pastors, my leaders go from level to level to level. And I've never seen that. Even God rest his soul in my grandfather. But I've never seen the levels in which they've gone, in which he is. When I met him, I didn't see, I just was told about it. But when I heard him open his mouth and speak, I was like, my mouth hung open. When I heard you speak, just now, my mouth hung open. Have any three of you ever seen yourselves as you was coming up in kingdom, in Christendom, that you would be at this level, where you are, speaking to people and on platforms in which you are right now?
Coming up, I didn't see myself being here because I wanted to be a model. But I saw myself using the platform in modeling to defend children that was abandoned by their fathers, their mothers, all that I struggled with. When my pastor told me, you're not going to model and put the keys in my hand, you're going to drive my Fleetwood Cadillac and be my personal driver. And as I became this personal driver, I hated what I saw him go through. But as time went on by, I fell in love, not with my assignment, I fell in love with my spiritual father and my spiritual mother. Welfare. I fell in love with it in such a way that I became what I was becoming as a kid. But I had a grandmother, as y'all often hear me say, my grandmother always say, boy, you're going to be somebody. Now, you can't do everything that all these other children do. You're going to be somebody. So I had a figment that something was going to happen. but I didn't know it was going to be on this platform. And it's scary. It's very scary. Elder Jack, it's scary to the fact is, who want to listen to nobody like me? I didn't come from a preacher family. I don't have a preacher's background. I'm born and raised Catholic in Catholicism. I was an altar boy for years. Didn't nobody want to hear nothing about no little altar boy cleaning up and wiping up behind the priest. I had nothing to offer. I didn't come from a family that was well-to-do. They had nothing to offer.
Right.
So it's scary. It's very scary. It's nerve-wracking. But I love doing what I do. And I only do what I love to do. So with that being said, I never saw it. But now that I'm here, I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to kiss it. And I'm going to hold on to it and take care of it. And make sure that everything about me is together. So that I can look good at doing what I do and what it is that I love to do.
I've always had a passion for God. I've always loved the Lord. I wanted to just be in His presence all the time. I had my room set up, just me and him. My husband would oftentimes say, "You do have a husband over here, you know." But that's how much I love God, still do. Did I see myself where I am now, ever in my ministries, or the levels I've taken? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you this, on today, I'm no longer going from level to level. I finally embraced who God said that I am. And that is a greater work that has to be done. I'm no longer intimidated by anyone. I'll no longer hide behind anyone. I am a humble person, and God had to deal with me, even in that, Apostle, if I could be surreal today. There's a thing they call false humility, which is nothing but our pride. God had to kill some stuff to get me where I am now. Now, remember, now you see me, but you don't see me. You made a great point. You saw me, but you didn't know who I was. But that was my developing stage that God was taking me through to get me where I am now. Where I am now, I see it. I see it plain as day. There is nobody can tell me anything different than what God already said when He first called me. Because when He called me into the pastoral role, He said, "This is what you'll do." My husband will attest to it. I don't brag, y'all. I'm telling the truth. Somebody needs to hear this. He said to me, he said, "Daughter, I called you to pastor a church." Before he was called, he was deacon. And in my quiet time, because I love being with God, He said, "This is what we'll do." The church was Baptist. But God was causing and raising us up to be a fivefold ministry. And the first question I said to God was, "Lord, how can that be? There is no apostle." This was 12 years ago. And the Lord spoke clearly, as He's still speaking today, "You are my daughter." I ran for 5 years until the apostle who I came under came and got me, unbeknownst the conversation I had had with God. Now let me tell you. The Lord said, "This is what we're going to do. You're going to stand before the people and they will no longer see you. You will take your dresses down." That's why I kind of had a little funny feeling when my brother said, "Apostle got on boots." I'm no longer moved by stupid stuff no more. Because if I'm going to get the gift that God gave me, I got to work with what I got. And I got to create this generation what God has called me to do. Because there are some people left behind now that should have already came up. Oh my God. But yes, I can see this that I'm in now. I'm no longer intimidated. I'm no longer caring how many like the way I speak or talk no more. Been through that, done enough of that. When you know that you know, get up and run, prophetess.
Let me add this real quick. We need to learn to recognize and combat the enemies of potential. You asked a very specific question. Did you see it? In our flesh, in our natural man, we couldn't see it. Because we, in our own eyesight, limit God. We limit Him. But it's until the place where we understand He's not limited by our limitations. Then we start to see God do some things. So learn to recognize and combat the enemies of potential. Apostle Mary said something that was so key. I ran from God. And I think all of us at times have had that time when we made our own decisions. But I came to a realization a long time ago. To people now, I ask the question, they say, man, I ran from God. And I look at them, I say, you got to run? You had the opportunity to run? That wasn't in my contract. We listen, God's going to get his way whether we like it or not. I said it last night. God told Jonah, I wanted you to take a boat, but you're going to have, I had to put you in the fish because I'm going to get my way one way or the other. And so as you progress into becoming that which you are, I'm going to drop this for you. And I want you to write this down, prophetess. You can't be it until you see it. If you can't see it, you'll never be it. You got to see it first. And then once you see it, you now can become it fully. All right?
Come on with the microphone, sir. Okay, we have one on this side. Come on, mother, stand up.
Okay. We've been talking about oil. And we often make the reference to the oil that runs down from Aaron's head, his beard, and on down. But I want to know about is there an oil that flows upward?
I would say no. And the reason why I would say no, because there will be a complicated moment. And in Christendom, a lot of us look for the complication as a sign of if it just flow one way and not flow or have a return flow, then it can't be God. Because that's a sign that I don't want. But that's a good statement. No, the oil doesn't flow. It flows down, up, downward, and come back. It goes up, downward, and spread broad. The intention of the oil is never to return to where it comes from. The intention of the oil is to continue saturation. Scripture said that as the rain cometh and the snow cometh, and it return not ye thither, so shall my word that go out forth out of my mouth. It shall go forth and it shall not return back unto me void. Watch this. The only thing that have a return on it is your mailing address and the shifting of the changes of the guards. Every change of the guards have a return. The Bible declares the angels go up and down Jacob's ladder. Every 12 hours the angels go, one come down. They do not communicate with each other as they're going because one is finishing their assignment, the other is going to an assignment. So watch this. This return is to go to God and to make known to God the deed of the earth. The coming or the return rather of the angels coming to the earth realm is to make known to the earth the deeds of the kingdom. Then that's when scripture says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So the oil doesn't ever return back upwards or come from the bottom upward. And if so, Mother Gautier, if the oil would have to come from the bottom upward, then what we're doing is now giving ushers and giving men of low estate the privilege to walk into an authoritative realm that they have not been demonically processed out of, so that they can assume the authority that those that have been processed into. So if I say sit down, oil from the bottom should never start talking about why should I sit down. The oil at the bottom should just start sitting down and keep letting the oil flow. Okay, watch this. Because what happens now is we give wrong people, we give Nicole the keys to a car. Okay, clearly, I got all coming back up. Yesterday, Wednesday, whatever day, it snowed. That girl left that baby, newborn baby, in the car at Riverdale Road, and her 4-year-old baby. Now, those 16-year-old boys is going to jail, but I think that mama should go to jail too. Because now, I know we're going to get too many applause about that, but I'm going to give you the Down syndrome of the oil going up. Because you are the mama, you are the parent. When you walked out that car, you left the keys in the ignition. with a newborn baby and whatnot. Here's another scenario from an oil coming upward. Is that 4-year-old baby could have got in the driver's seat and did what do when he saw his mama or daddy do, turn that steering wheel or move that ship, and a whole bunch of people would have been dead. You understand? Oil coming from the top was, I left that keys in the car, and now a person that didn't even have an oil at the bottom is now driving the oil that came from the beard. So when we get, the oil can never flows back upward. It can never. Its intention is to keep flowing. A flow. Notice something about a flow. We have a fish aquarium at the house. The filter, it constantly turns. It's sucking water out of the tank, but it's pushing water back into the tank. That's a flow. The intention is to get rid of the algae, the bacteria, and whatnot. Whenever the oil, the purification, thank you. Whenever the oil is on your life, it has to have one flow. Because it keeps the purification, it keeps everything moving. It got to have a consistency in the move. Is this making sense? There got to be a consistency. Because watch this. Mother Sheila, Sister Sheila, and Mother Cotier bakes, and some of you are Sister Bonita bakes. But there's something about the whipping of the batter. If you don't mix it together properly, it's going to be lumpy, and then that's when you start baking. What's going to happen? It's going to be lopsided. The temperature is going to be wrong. Because the better, if you over whip it, it's going to be a problem, right, cooks, bakers? So you want to make sure you whip it good enough. The oil got to flow from Aaron to where it's going, so that it can continue saturating as the lava. Lava cannot return back to a volcano. It cannot, because its job is for whenever the lava leaves out of the volcano, what happens?
It gets hard.
It gets hard.
It cools and it gets hard.
And it can start causing new developments.
Because there's common in the world.
And if you hit water, if water hit that